Doughboy, how you make this?
I stand on business, I'm a businessman. Heard it talking money over there. What's the business then? Flying with the team, then we execute the business plan. All work, no play, I get that business in. I stand on business, I'm a businessman. Heard it talking money over there. What's the business then? Flying with the team, then we execute the business plan. All work, no play, I get that business in. I've been running through these blue strips and blueprints.
All right. Boy. Yeah, I see you switch the scenery up, but
hell yeah, to get comfortable.
It's all
good. In the crib, one of the rooms.
It's all good. One of the questions that I was asking you was, do you still work some of your contracts yourself?
No, I transitioned to where I'm on standby. I'm not like, I don't have to work if I don't want to, but I still like to be active. And so you might catch me out there here and there, but I'm pretty much everywhere. I just try to be open if I'm needed. But for the most part, I was able to hire a good team, and I got a real great team. And yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you, if you don't mind sharing, where do you find some of your contracts?
So I go on this app. Literally, I got my phone right here. So if you go into the app store, I'm gonna pull it up so that way the audience can see. And literally, whatever business you do, whether if it's security, whether if it's janitorial, it can be a DJ, you can be doing a personal training, anything you do, you can literally go on this app and be able to get in contact with clients. So this app is called Bark. Can you see it?
Yeah, we can see that. Yeah.
So this app right here is basically where I'm able to get any contracts I want. I think I talked to you a little bit about it off the scenes a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. It's a great app. And I advise business owners, especially if you're just getting started, to utilize this app, put in whatever services that you do, and put in your area code or wherever you're looking to get clients at. And literally every day, nonstop, clients go on this app looking for services. So I definitely advise users. I mean, I still use it to this day. I was able to start a transportation company off of this app. And I know we're going to speak into that even as well. But definitely, this app has been great. I was able to become a millionaire off this app,
Definitely. No, that sounds good. And you said it was
my chef E-Dog. Shout out Chef E-Dog. He got the Cajun meat soul out here in Sacramento. He didn't cook for Blue Bloods Clan. He didn't cook for Kalen for real. You name it. He didn't cook for a lot of celebrities in our area, in the Sacramento area. I put him on this app called Bark, and he took off. Literally took off with this. So this app is definitely utilize it.
Yeah, definitely. I think you didn't plug the man. We're gonna need a sponsorship after that. Definitely. You said
for sure.
Let's pivot a little bit. Where you want to go? You want to go to the real estate or the transportation company first?
I mean, it don't matter. We can start.
Let's talk transportation company.
Yeah, transportation company. First I started off in the box truck lane, and I'll tell you a story to where I jumped into the box trucks thinking it was for me.
Okay.
And it wasn't for me.
How did you get into the box trucking industry?
Just looking up videos because I knew I wanted to do something different. And I'm just like, all right, I hear it's a lot of money in this box trucking business. And don't get me wrong. It might be true for some states and some cities. But for me specifically, it wasn't it. And I'm not knocking it, because I have a good friend of mine, he's doing it. And but I tried it out, and I just feel like just how much money you have to put in the gas, and just the liability that's just driving a 26 or bigger truck. It just caused a lot of liability. And for me, it didn't work out. I tried it for about a good month. I made some money, and then again, I lost some money as well. But for the most part, it didn't stop me from trying to be able to see for myself. And then I had a venture to where I went onto this company called On Track. and it was cool. It just wasn't what I expected and what I signed my contract for. And it was more. I feel like with On Track, that's more for something to where if you work that On Track, you can get promoted to do that. But they was trying to hire companies that just have their DOT and their transportation license to just do carrier work for them. And the money just wasn't adding up. And I just took different ventures. So, for these last, I say 6, 7, 8 months, I've been doing government contracts with the United States Postal Service. So that's been really big, and just getting into the government world. And it's definitely consistent, I say, and it's definitely straightforward. And, these contracts last for as long as 5 to 6 years. So it's definitely some comfortability, and, the money is good, I say, a lot of opportunity. So, that's why, I'm everywhere in the business world. I had season tickets with the Sacramento Kings. I used to sell my tickets and be able to make thousands of dollars every month. So with me, I just look at any opportunity. I'm already looking into electric vehicle charger stations. I have an opportunity to where I'm able to put 2 charger stations in a parking lot. So I just say keep your mind active. Definitely keep your mind active.
Definitely, yeah. You talking about that's the east side of you, man. You got about 9, 10 hustles, man.
Hey, nah, for sure. Hey, sure.
You wasn't feeling the box trucking, did you? Are you still doing it or what?
No, I'm not doing the box truck side of things now. So what I'm doing it to where you drive your own vehicle, or we just go get like a little SUV or something, or like a van. So, but most likely it'll be your own vehicle, or it'll just be a vehicle that you can drive.
Okay. And how much have you traveled in the box trucking business?
I traveled. Let's see, pretty far. When I was getting into it, me specifically, I had drivers go all the way from like Washington to Utah, and but then the situation, I had scenarios where I even had a truck break down on me in the middle of the highway. And so that's just like the dilemmas that nobody really talk about. Them trucks break down, and it's not like you can just get that towed. It's a process behind that. So that was my whole thing.
How much money does somebody have to have on hand to start a box trucking business?
Necessarily, you don't have to have money on hand, but what I would say, you definitely need something to get you throughout like the first couple weeks. Like say if you had about 5,000, like most people may say, oh, you need 20, 30,000 to start a box truck business. I say with maybe 10,000, you should be good with just getting insurance, making sure you get your DOT, and obviously you can go the rental route with the box truck. It's just finding a rental company like Budget, Penske, Enterprise, Hertz, Ryder. They have so many different trucking companies, or you can find a third-party company. So like I said, about 10,000, that'll get you in the door for sure.
All right. That sounds good, man. That's definitely $1 million worth of game right there, man. So you got to take heat.
Definitely. You just gotta find out, like with this transportation lane, it's bigger than just box trucks. It's bigger than just diesels. You gotta find there's so many different lanes. Like you could be doing medical routes. You could be doing so many different routes. You just have to find what's best for your situation. What fits your goals. Where you trying to see yourself maybe the next 5, 10 years at. So because there's so many different lanes that you can attack. You could be doing transportation for senior citizens to where you're taking them to different doctor's appointments, different physical therapy appointments. You could be doing transportation for mail, what I'm doing. You could be doing boxes. So it's just, you have to find your lane. Transportation is bigger than just box trucks, I tell people,
Yeah. No, that makes sense, man. Let's talk real estate now. How did you purchase your first property?
Yeah, I was able to purchase my first property we're in 2025, so about 2023. I was able to get a fourplex with 4 units on it.
When was this?
Huh?
When was this?
This was in August of 2023.
Okay.
I was able to get blessed to get a fourplex. So let me tell you a crazy story. Before I was able to close escrow on the fourplex, it took a minute, So starting my business, I was able to make a huge impact right away. And when you have businesses and you're trying to get property or just certain things that causes you to be able to provide your tax forms, I only had 1 year of tax forms. So my first year, I was trying to get some property, and I was looking at different properties and going on tours and stuff like that. And it just didn't work. It just didn't work through. I was in escrow. I was literally in escrow, and they kept telling me hey, you need to have this in your account. I go put it in my account, or you need this. So it came down to where I didn't have 2 years of business taxes yet from that specific business, and I had to wait. So fast forward in 2023, mind you, I was trying to get it in like 2021. So it takes time. So that's what I'm saying. And that goes back to what we were saying earlier about the 2 years. You need to everything is about protocol. Before I was able to land my deal, I had to do 2 years of business taxes. So, I had to wait a year. But how this story ended up happening, it was a great story. I had enough money saved up, and it was an opportunity where I seen a property online, and it was a fourplex, and it was some land to it, to where you could potentially add more units to it. And I just felt like it was a one-of-a-kind opportunity to where you don't see too many opportunities come like this. And, we was able to close escrow on it. Me and the agent he was actually a funny story. He worked with me. He was actually able to give me a $15,000 credit because I was short $15,000. So he was able to incorporate that into the property. So we had to collaborate on that. But basically, it was a story to where, that's why I go back to relationships. He knew the lady who owned the house had passed, and she owned a couple houses in that neighborhood. And she left that property and multiple properties to him. His name was Shay. He was a big-time realtor. He worked at Century 21 for about 35 years. And it's crazy. He was just a good friend to her. And she worked with him throughout the past as just being a real estate agent to her. And she ended up passing, but before she passed, he didn't even know. But she left, like in her trust, all her properties go to Shay, not even her kids. So that was a crazy story. So Shay was just a good dude. And to this day, if I have any questions, I call him about anything to do with real estate. And he helps us out throughout the process with anything. And but yeah, that's how that story ended. He was able to give me an opportunity. Mind you, at that time, I'm only 23 years old, and you don't see too many 23-year-olds that's trying to get some property and, mind you, some units at that. So he was inspired about that. And just hearing me talk and just hearing how bad I wanted, my hunger made him want to give me that. And man, I think that was one of the best feelings of my life. That was one of the best feelings of my life, closing escrow. The process of being an escrow was so crazy. Like, you can't spend no money. It's just like everything, it's like, man, it can mess up your opportunity. And like you get an email or call. So you like from the agent, you like, all right, what's going on now? They may be asking you to put more money in your account to provide this, provide that. So that process was definitely crazy for sure. And by the grace of God, I was able to close, and that was the best thing I ever did. It was get some property, and I wouldn't take that back for nothing. And that's my goal, is to become a real estate mogul. I want to own duplexes. I want to own apartment complexes. I want to own shopping centers. I want to own land. Anything to do with real estate. I feel like real estate is the safest investment you can ever invest in. Just the return on it. Just throughout the years. The equity increase. And, if you was to invest in anything, you should definitely invest in real estate. And I tell people that all the time.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100% on that one. Tell us more about this property. What's the specs on this property? You said it was a 4-unit. Give me
Yeah.
details about this property.
So it's a fourplex to where I have 4 units, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and so it has quite a bit land. So where I'm able to put my plan is to do some construction on it, hopefully this summer to add about another duplex style to where it's going to be one single building with 2 units on it. Hopefully I can fit in 3. It just depends on the landscape and what I can fit on it when the architect draws everything out. But the plan is to definitely add one more build because it's like the way the property is, it's a long gate, it's in a gate. And we definitely gonna do a tour. I'm gonna have you come out here. It's gonna be legendary. Do a tour of the property. So it's one building, 2 units, and then it's a parking lot, another building, 2 units, and then the back space is where you can put another building with 2 units.
And do you live in one of these units?
No, so basically throughout the process, the first year I had to live in it. Like the first about year and a half, I lived in it just due to the FHA guidelines. You gotta live in it. Yeah. But you know how that goes. No, thanks. You know how that goes. That's all I'm gonna say. And I had to live in it, but I'm renting it out now.
Yeah. Okay, so you said you went with an FHA loan. Why FHA loan?
Why not? I definitely didn't want to do a conventional.
Okay. So how much did you put down?
I was able to put 3.5% down. So just that was a blessing itself. You just do 3.5% of just say 600,000. So that's on. You're not gonna have to put the whole 60, 80, $100,000. You probably only put like 20,000 down. Obviously you want to show like 6 months or 2 months of reserves, but so I was able to get blessed to only have to put like 20,000 down, and then it's increments. So you have to put your earnest deposit down first, and then through the process when it's time to close, that's when you put the rest of the balance. So everything else was Gucci, man. It was an easy process. The only thing that sucks is just being an escrow and just so many contingencies. You gotta go checking with the property, different inspections, and it's a lot. And I'm pretty sure as a real estate agent, you deal with it all the time.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand that on the back end when they think about purchasing a property or selling a property. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff that goes on in the background that most people realize. But in your opinion, why FHA over conventional loan?
I just feel like if you have an opportunity, so what most people don't understand, most people think when it comes down to first-time home buyer, and this is something that I'm glad that you have this, this podcast to where we can explain things like this. I'm going to give y'all some gems. So most people think, when you just get a first-time home buyer loan that you just have to get a single family. So with the first-time home buyer loan, you're able to get up to 4 units. And you're able to qualify for, I think, as much as 1.2 million. It just depends on where you at and what city, what county, and stuff like that. So I was able to take advantage of that. And I'm just like, why not? Who don't want to put some of the biggest investors, some of the biggest real estate moguls started from an FHA loan, And the good thing about an FHA, you not only can use it one time, but you can use it multiple times. Obviously, you can't have multiple FHAs at one time, but after you in one FHA loan for maybe I say 1 to 2 years, you can able to refinance that and clear out a new loan on that to be able to use your FHA again. So I just thought it's a great opportunity, and everybody has their different paths. Some people can afford to just go get a conventional loan and do that route, but my situation in particular, I just feel like it was best to go the FHA route. And I told myself, because I see so many people not in my generation, but the generations before me, as far as like the older generations that grew up in the 80s and 90s and the 70s, they just go get a house. I'm not going to go get a house right now first. I'm going to go get some real estate investment, and then I'm going to go get my house. I just feel like, while you're in your prime, when you're in your 20s and working your way up to your 30s, the best thing you can do is grind right now to get some real estate. Don't be in a rush to buy a house. Because a house can be a liability. You should only get a house when that real estate that you got can pay for the house. So that's the process I'm in. I'm just basically I'm playing Monopoly right now. And I tell people this all the time. The real estate game and just life in general with businesses, anything, it's about playing Monopoly until you can play chess. So right now I'm gonna keep playing Monopoly, getting as much as real estate as I can, and then I'm gonna play chess when it's time to leverage that. When it's time to go get 1031 exchanges, time to start go getting the DSCR loans to get 150 unit apartment complexes, and stuff like that.
And why was your first decision to go with a multifamily instead of a single family residence?
Because I knew my long-term goal was to have tenants. My long-term goal was to have income from each of these units. I don't want to be working forever. Mind you, we talk about, you asked me if I'm still working, and I told you I'm gonna have to be on standby at times. So like the goal was to never be working again. I mean, once you can accumulate so many doors in real estate, working is not even gonna be an option. The goal is just gonna be keep getting doors with real estate. So that's my overall goal. I'm not trying to be, I want to be in bed at a certain time of night. I want to be on vacation and chilling, just knowing I got guaranteed money coming every month,
The fact that you 23, you know what I'm saying?
I'm 25 now.
Yeah. But the fact that you was 23 when you acquired this property, I think that's powerful, you know what I'm saying? Especially for the youth growing up. And obviously, you got the cars, you got the jewelry, you got that stuff, but that wasn't your first move. You didn't go spend money on cars, jewelry. Not why investment property instead of going to buy cars, clothes, and jewelry and all that type of good stuff.
I mean, the more investment property, the more cars and jewelry. I couldn't buy this Pt.2, without the basically, and I want to show you something too, because a lot of people basically be having these jewelries. Hold on one second.
Yep.
And we can keep this live too. There ain't nothing wrong with having jewelry, but a lot of people, diamonds don't even be official. You can look my jeweler up, Ice bought in Sacramento, California. So this is what you call a card. So this is my box with the Pt.2. I know a lot of people don't probably understand this type of stuff, So it come with a card. And Pt.2, it come with papers. So and every diamond certified. So if your diamonds and stuff don't come like this with certifications, it ain't official. I ain't gonna show you all my jewelry because I ain't, but that's just to clear that,
No,
diamonds gotta come like that. But definitely. But back to your point, but before you can get all the diamonds, the cars, the fancy stuff, you got to be able to accumulate something that's going to be able to pay for that. That stuff don't come easy, So I just felt that I wanted to be the type to have my money show for it. I wanted to, when people say, oh, what could you show for it? I wanted to show stuff. I wanted to show something. So, the cars and the jewelry, that's not forever. I wanted to leave a legacy for my future kids, and just leave something that's powerful. And that's how I feel like that you can live forever is through the property,
Yeah, that's
this shit is materialistic. This gonna come and go. All this gonna come and go. What means more is the property. I give all this away if I can get some property out of this, So that's my goal. Don't never get it twisted, It's property first, cars, jewelry second, And really that's last,
Yeah. Hey man, you ain't have to come flex on me and my people, man. Like I ain't appreciate that, man. In this interview right now, you do that again, bro. No.
Yeah, that's all good. I have to show everybody like it's real over here. Like a lot of people got diamonds, but they can't show no papers on their diamonds.
No.
So it's just that's it, man. We set the narrative, we set the trend. We doing things different.
I feel you. Did you have a mentor along the way to kind of teach you these things?
Not necessarily. I didn't have a mentor. I was always one to just take heed to what I hear and just kind of listen and just be open ear. But I didn't necessarily say I had a mentor. Like I had a lot of people that I say like, inspired me from a distance. Because I'm always getting inspired. I get inspired by the little things, like even being on your podcast and just seeing what you've been doing and just seeing like where you started from and your vision now. It's been inspiring for me. So little things like that fuel me, and I'm one of the type of people that I like to get fuel from all situations. So whether if it's good or bad, I use that as fuel, and I use that to motivate me to. It's just like a hunger, you just use that, to get to that next step. But I wouldn't necessarily I say I had one in particular mentor,
Yeah. Okay. Are you comfortable sharing what do you bring in from your tenants, from your units?
I say I bring it's not necessarily what you bring in, is the equity out of that. So I say a number that I would give, I have over about 150,000 in equity. So
But just how many years is that?
So think about it. I've been having the property since 2023. We in 2025. Yeah. So for me to be able to accumulate 150,000 in equity, between 120, 150,000 in equity, that's amazing. So at any point in time, I can pull that out, and that's just what so far the property has value.
And your monthly mortgage is about where?
My monthly mortgage is in between like about 38 to 4. It just depends. But that pays for itself. So having property, the advantage of that of just having units, all that pays for itself. So you're able just to receive a return without having to proceed and go out of pocket.
So how's it been a landlord? You know what I'm saying, and having that responsibility. I'm pretty sure, like it's much more responsibility than just having to pay your own mortgage. You know what I'm saying? People are kind of depending on you to have a place to stay. So how is that responsibility on you?
Yeah, that changed my life. Being a landlord, like being able to, people depending on me. Like anything I do, it can jeopardize not only my life but lives. So that kind of impacted me a lot too, of just how I need to move and conduct myself, and it's definitely life changing. It's definitely something that I want everybody to experience. But it's a challenge as well. It's a good part of it to where you find good tenants who keep up your property and make sure the value stays high. But then it's a downside to it as well, to where you have things that get broken, miscellaneous things that come upon to where like you have to fix and you're responsible to fix, and if you don't take certain action, it's repercussion. So it's definitely a challenge, but I wouldn't trade this for nothing. This is something that I want. Being a landlord holds a lot of power. It's certain protocols that you have to go by. There's certain standards that you have to meet. So it's just like another thing. I can't be out here portraying something different if I'm taking care of lives. So it's just I try to make sure that I'm always level-headed and protecting the image, because I'm a brand.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's strong that you say you're a brand. I don't think people understand. I always say, 24/7 I'm on the clock. Especially with me being a real estate agent or a realtor. Never know when my next client gonna come or where they're gonna come from. So I gotta conduct myself in a certain manner where I'm being professional and I'm not being ruining my character. So I totally agree with you. But definitely how did you go about finding this property and acquire this property?
Yeah, so just looking on the internet and going through different websites like Redfin and Realtor, looking through Zillow, and just constantly looking. You know, I said like previous before that, you know, it took a process to where I was just on internet every day, just searching properties to just see what's new in the area or what's popping up. So just definitely, I say utilizing the real estate, realtor apps and programs and stuff like that. Definitely, I'll say that.
All right, so as a first time buyer, what would you say is some of the most important documents or resources you should have ready?
Definitely have whether it's personal or business, you gotta have 2 years of taxes. Uh, that's definitely one of the first things you want to have. I mean, even before that, you want to have you want to be ready. And what I mean by that, you want to at least have about 30 to 50,000, and you won't be spending the whole 50, but just have that as far as just preserved, so that way they can feel comfortable enough to be able to give you the loan. So I'll say definitely between like 30 and 50,000, some taxes, 2 years worth of taxes, and credit definitely is going to be definitely an impact as well. So you want to, whether you get in the FHA or not, you still got to have some reasonable credit. So definitely have about over this, I want to say 680 in credit. If you got 650, that's still understandable. But I say 650 at the minimum in credit. And you know, with the taxes, you know, and with the money saved up, and just make sure whatever you're doing, it got to be the same history. So like, if you was doing trucking, it got to be trucking throughout the whole 2 years that all that money came from. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple though. 2 years of taxes. Make sure you have your credit right, whether 650 or higher, and about 30 to 50 stat in the bank.
Okay, okay. Um, and you said you used the realtor. How was that experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, she was down to earth. Her name is Carrie. She's an agent from Redfin. She's been around for about over 30 years, so that's just along. You know, you build experience and you build sales. It was just a process. She told me straightforward what it was gonna be, and you know, we just connected, and she let me speak, and you know, let me feel free to just, because obviously it was my opinion, and so she definitely, I felt like she was fair.
Okay. And from your experience, would you recommend anyone else, you know, first time home buyers or just in general working with an agent or not? And why? Why so?
Yeah, so you know, now that I had a step to look at it, it's different ways you can approach it. Don't get me wrong. Working with an agent is great, you know, because especially an agent that you can connect with, an agent that you know, and somebody that can understand your situation and can help you, that's fine. But you know, you have to actually find the right agent, because some agents can just be in it commission. So you know, if you find that right agent, you know, that's gonna better your situation, because you don't want to just buy anything. And the reason why we make Carrie different is because she understood that we wanted to potentially add more property to it. So we was looking for property specifically that was under a RD20. And what people don't know, which is a RD20, is allows you to develop and add more units to multifamily. Yeah, you know, so a lot of people don't know it's bigger than just buying a property. You know, you got to see your zoning. You got to see, like, you know, is it potential or is it no potential? What kind of construction is it labeled under? So it's bigger. So than just, oh, how the property look on the outside. You know, we just call that cosmetic. But yeah, so I say we really digged in deep. Like, okay, what is this property zone? What can we get out of this property? Are we able to add more units to this property? So it's a bigger search than just looking. So definitely find an agent that's gonna be on your best interest, I'll say. But if an agent ain't doing that and can't tell you like the details and stuff like that, it's not a good agent.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of realtors, a lot of agents wouldn't want to hear that. But I totally agree. You better off, going to sell or buy by yourself if you gonna work with a trash agent, man. So, be careful out here on your real estate journey, definitely. But would you say uh real estate agents are even needed in this day and age, or yeah,
Yeah,
what's
and so when people say that real estate agents is pointless, that's not true. Because at the end of the day, you know, from just a standpoint of a person that's just regularly buying a house, you don't know the knowledge. It's a lot of knowledge and there's a lot of teaching behind it. There's a lot of rules and regulations that we don't know just as humans that happens on the real estate side. So I definitely feel like I respect everybody for their duties and their job. Like we respect the basketball players, like we respect the MLMs and the police and the teachers and all these people, what they do, respect the real estate agents as well, because they got their certificates. Some people even got their degree. So just respect the passion. Obviously, we may not know everything explicitly what they may know, so that's why you have them. Like me, I'm a coach and I'm getting my certificates and everything in coaching. So like when parents or anybody come up to me asking why I'm doing certain things of my coaching philosophy, I have my certificates. I'm always going to be open opinion to what people have to say, but just from a standpoint, this is what I'm certified in. So obviously I know what I'm talking about. So that's how I look at real estate agents as well. But you have to have the ones who true to the game are the ones that's just a part of the game. So it's a difference. It's people that's true to this real estate game, and it's people that's just a part of it. So and it's anything with anything else in life.
what makes real estate so important to you?
The leverage, the freedom. It's life changing. It's not just a purchase. When you purchase things, sometimes, not sometimes, most times the value goes, or you can lose it. It can be replaced. Real estate is something that, is forever long lasting. Just the structure of it, it's something that you can definitely build a foundation with. And just the sound of just hearing real estate just triggers me because, what I mean? But definitely, there's so many words that you can add to it. And, but real estate is definitely, it's a passion. It's something that you have to be, even if you don't have a passion, I say that it's, it's escaping. It's a way to where you can create financial separation, financial literacy. It's a way to where you can create revenue for your family, generational wealth. So, that's why I do it, because I want to be able to pass it down for legacies and legacies and legacies and legacies. I'm gonna be one of those type of persons to put in my trust that my kids never sell the property. They just continue to pass it on down. And there's another thing just to speak on this too. Just trust is how you set things up. A lot of people coming up, in the generations before us were so caught up on wills. One of my family members to this day, our grandma died and it's a house for sale. They're going through probate right now because everything was in the will. And wills can be tampered and can be played with. But with trust, it's something that can be solidified, So that's another thing, that's another topic that I'm pretty sure that, you will have. But that's just another thing that I want you guys to look into. It's a big difference between a will and a trust. And this is something that I didn't know about, and that I had to, just learn and continue to gain knowledge about, because there's so many different ones. But just definitely, it's a process. It's a process. Like with this type of industry, it's not something that you just know it all. Even the greatest of real estate moguls don't know it all. It's something that continuously is a growth process, and you just have to put yourself in a situation to where you continue to learn, and just be open,
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. The times is always progressing, so everybody is not gonna know it all because things change every day. So but I think, hey man, you made some killing points, man. I think people better take notes on that good game you just gave, man. Definitely.
Yeah, like this ain't like what I'm doing. I'm setting a trend. Like, I'm setting the trend for my generation and the next generation after me. You don't gotta sag your pants. You don't gotta. I'm not saying stop representing where you from, but you don't gotta hurt the next man or that saying crabs in the bucket. You don't gotta take them the next next person down because you're trying to get to the top. It's different ways other than game banging, other than playing sports. This entrepreneurship is the truth. And I'm shining the light on it. I didn't travel the world just off of this entrepreneurship. I didn't been in places to where I never thought coming from the east side that I'd be. My name is Egypt, and I went to Egypt. Imagine how that made me feel. So definitely, man, like that's what I'm trying to do. And I feel like that's my cause, is to shed light and spread light on just this new path that you can go. It's not always about game banging or hitting licks and stuff like that. Like a lot of my day ones is in jail right now, doing double digits because of this, bro. So, I feel like that's my calling, is to make sure that, I address the rights and the wrongs, especially to the generation that's looking under me. And I tell everybody this, like, it's not about where you start, it's how you finish.
Definitely. No, yeah. That's a good point, man. Good point. And what's next for you on your real estate journey?
To get bigger. I mean, step by step, once you in the door, I'll tell you this, the first one is the hardest one. And, once you get that first one, oh yeah, it's just like, that thrill. Yeah. Like you want another one. It's like winning championships. Like I say, real estate to me, and just anything I do in life, I treat it like it's a sport. I feel like I wake up in a mindset like, who can out hustle me? Like for real, I'm gonna dominate today. You get 24 hours in a day. I'm trying to dominate each minute. Who can out hustle me? And what I mean? So you gotta have that type of mindset, just dominate it, use every minute, use every second, use every hour to your advantage. Whether if it's researching, whether if it's on the phone call, calling and trying to find connections and stuff like that. And that's how I just wake up, and that's my approach to life.
No, definitely. That's hard. That's hard. I'm definitely gonna be looking forward to working with you on your next deal. So don't be forgetting about me, man.
Yeah, sky's the limit. It's something bigger than just what we started now. We go way back. And the audience may not know this, but man, like this is my real brother right here. Like I done been at his house like times where I could just open his door, and his mama just let me right in. Like that's the type of relationship we got. So this is just legendary that we even doing this, man. And we trying to change the narrative, man. Like it's okay to go a different route. We need more entrepreneurs. We need more media companies. We need more business owners. This is the only way we're gonna change the narrative. All the YNs, all the young ladies, go put yourself in a position to where y'all can be the next greats. Go after a trade, whatever. Go start a business. It's a gem I'm gonna give y'all right now too. This is how I got a lot of different partnerships as well. I was able to accumulate a partnership with U-Haul off of just researching the network. And literally, it don't cost no money down. No money down. You can have a partnership with U-Haul, literally. And all of the requirement is that you have a building with a little parking lot to where you can have U-Haul trucks. They're going to keep you customers coming. And every day, man, literally, you're going to be selling out with trucks. And this don't cost no money down. Literally, you can look it up right now on the phone or on your Google. Type in U-Haul, become a U-Haul partner, become a U-Haul dealer. And literally, all you need to do is go rent out a lease. Go rent out a lease, and you got to just provide them evidence of the lease. That's your lease. And make sure your owner of the parking lot or whatever the lease is cool with you having trucks in there. And everything else is going to be self-explanatory. And you can also coexist this whatever business you got. So like say if you got a trucking company or any other type of business, you can add this with your business. So, right now, U-Haul wrote a quote about me. Let's see. So U-Haul literally wrote, I don't know if you guys can see, but basically said, because I got a U-Haul company. So
something on the screen. Something just popped up on your screen.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like y'all can see, like I got a partnership with you on. It's like it's easy to do.
So let's talk about coaching. You know what I'm saying? You coaching now. How did you get in coaching?
So I mean, coaching is something that it's just I love basketball and I love the game. So I always wanted to kind of. I knew I wasn't gonna make it to the NBA or play, so this was something where that keeps me happy, just loving the game. But coaching was everything, man. Started coaching last year, coaching at junior high, and just fell in love with it. Just the process, win, lose, or draw. Just the behind the scenes, coaching the practices, and just being able to inspire the next generation. I look at it like I'd rather be coaching basketball and teaching kids how to play basketball before I teach a kid how to sell some weed or teach a kid how to hold a gun and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to change, and this is a way that I can give back. You know what I mean? So it's bigger than just basketball for me. I'm a real mentor to some of these young kids, and I just take pride in that for sure. But
I want to take my hat off to you and give you your flowers, man.
for sure, appreciate you.
We need more of that in our community, and
it's just a lot, man. I got inspired by it's one of my grandpas. He had passed, and I had went to his funeral, and he worked with some kids and at this little program, and just the fact how they talked about him, like how he was just a big influence in their life, and just the fact how just like Mr. G this, Mr. G that, it made me want to have that. Like, all right, when I go, I want kids to come to my funeral and be like, man, he impacted my life so much, and start crying and all type of stuff. So like it's bigger than that, and this is who I am. This is my calling, like this is what God want me to do. He want me to be able to, coach the next generation, have fun while we're doing it, and just make it interesting while teaching them obstacles and helping them through the next journey of their life.
Definitely, you lead them by example. But with you being up under, you said you're 25. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty young. I don't want to sound like I'm old. I'm only 28. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? 25 is young. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I had your mindset at 25. So how did you develop that mindset, and how do you maintain and keep up with your responsibilities?
Yeah, and you're right. I had to realize how young I am because I lived my life if I was in my 30s already because I'm not doing what most people in my generation do. But it took me. I used to hang around a lot of older people, and like just at an early age, at like 13, 14, even like 11. So like just growing up in South Central LA, you start to do things at an early age to where when you reach 23, 24, 25, you like, all right, you already did all that already. So, a lot of the stuff is just because, I did grow up pretty fast, just experiencing things that pretty much adults experience I was experiencing that at like 15, like my life wasn't peaches and creams, so I had to experience certain things that most 15, 13, 14-year-olds wouldn't have experienced at that age. So that's what kind of made me much more mature, and it made me adapt to certain situations. Just my dad going in and out of jail all my life. I didn't really have a father figure. Me and my uncle wasn't really that was my uncle, but he still had other responsibilities. So I had to learn things a different way. And so I feel like everything that I did learn at a young age, it made me mature, it made me smart, it made me just realize how valuable life is, and man, you can do anything wrong. Like, man, one thing can mess up your whole life. Literally, one mistake. So just knowing that, knowing where I come from, knowing the type of rooms that I want to be in. Like I sat in front of $1 million people, $1 billion people offering my services, and literally I'd go in there, they'd call me within the next hour and say, you got it. Because it's not just about how you look, it's about just how you present yourself, how you can elaborate words and how you can just use your vocab and open up to express things in a different form, you know. So that was me. I just took passion in education. I was one of those type of dudes, like I read the dictionary. Like, yeah, I was a bad kid. But once I got over that bad point, I changed all that around. You know, like I feel like, you know, education is everything. I mean, you nothing without education because you wouldn't know nothing. So just taking pride in that. I mean, obviously as a kid, it's a couple things that you wish you could have did different, but that's just with the environment that I was raised in. And, you know, I take advantage of that, you know, just knowing that I came from this and I'm right here now. Because, you know, most people that see me to this day, most people that see me to this day, they wouldn't even know that I come from South Central LA. They wouldn't even know I was one of the ones that was the influencer, you know? So it's like, when people think of me, they know like, oh, Bubba was bad. Like he was one of the, like, we know what he on, you know? So, but like when people like, man, like I'm one of like, so just that light, that how that can change, you know? And that's it, bro. Just day by day, step by step, and you gotta want it, you know? You know?
Are you married?
I'm engaged.
Engaged? Okay.
Yeah.
Any kids?
I don't got kids yet, but I'm planning on having kids like within the next, I said about a couple years, like within like this year to next year, hopefully.
Okay. What's the hold up?
I mean, there's no hold up. I feel like the biggest accomplishment and the biggest freedom to have a kid was getting that property and just being able to just the milestones that we accomplished together as far as just, you know, I met her in college, you know, so from just becoming friends to being able to go through the journey of partying together and drinking. And, you know, we went to the journey of having a business together, you know, having a relationship. So we went through every scenario together as well to where the only thing that we can do now is continue to travel and have a kid, you know, and get more real estate. And I'll say the best advice that I can tell somebody, obviously you got to go through things to be able to know what's right. But, you know, just having that one solid girl or just having that one solid dude that you can grow with can lead to something big and it can lead to something powerful, you know. And you know, you control the destiny of your foundation. So that's definitely something that I would look at, you know.
How are you with your money management? Or do you spend a lot of money on miscellaneous things?
I mean, yeah, you can say that because I mean that's a part of life. I don't get too caught up with money because money is really like don't get me wrong, money is a lot, but when money gonna come with the territory. When you got a vision and a structure in place, money comes with it. You have to have money to be able to receive certain things. I'm one of them type of dudes. I like nice things. I like the cars. I like the watches. I like the vacations and stuff like that. So you have to accumulate enough money to do that. But I don't get caught up with money. The less I think about money and just think about what I got to do, the money gonna come, you know? Like people get caught up, oh, I got to make this. I got to make 50, 20, 30,000. No, just go through the process and everything else is gonna play its role, you know? Like, you know, I make over 200,000 a month, literally. And this is not nothing to do with the real estate. This was just a business. Like, and I don't think about money because it's gonna come, you know. You know, when you got a passion to continue to grow and you got a passion that you want to succeed, you know, and like I said, my mindset is monopoly.
Yeah. All right, man. This was a powerful, informative interview, man. I appreciate you for coming through, man. For sure. But before I get you up out of here, I want to play a little game where I ask you 5 questions, man. You answer them as fast as you can to the best of your ability.
Let's get it. Let's go. We on.
Ready? Cinnamon Toast Crunch or Captain Crunch?
Cinnamon Toast Crunch, for sure.
All right. Would you take $1,000 every day for the rest of your life or $100 million right now?
$100 million, I'm gone. I know what to do with it. Oh, go. I don't need no 1,000 every day. Give me that 100 million. We on. Get some apartment complexes, all type of stuff. You know, hey, I know what to do with it.
Kobe Bryant or LeBron James?
That's a tough one. I grew up off the LeBron James era, so I'm about to say LeBron James. But I respect Kobe and I love Kobe.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Being able to fly.
All right, and the last question is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Having a millionaire status, more real estate, having a family, and just on vacation somewhere, and the goal is just to continue to grow,
No, definitely, man. I appreciate you for coming through and blessing the podcast with that strong information, man.
Yes, sir. Anytime, brother, anytime.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely look forward to connecting with you again. So tell them where they can find you at, and let them know if you got anything coming up.
Yeah, so I usually don't even be on social media or nothing like that. You got to just catch me in person or just kind of know or be within that circle or the inner circle. But you can find me on social media at Egypt_foreign, and I'm a private page. But I might open it up to just to my fan base and just to the world. But definitely, I'm just a humble family guy, a man that just like to achieve his goals and have set high expectations and just give as much game as possible. Because this is free, and I don't feel like people should charge for this type of game. A lot of mentors, they be having these mentor programs where they charge $300, $400, $500, $600 for some stuff that you can get for free. All you got to do is just use these phones and these tablets and computer. So just take that and run with it, y'all.
Definitely. No, for real, man. I'm gonna let you go, man. I appreciate you, man. We got to do this again real soon, man. Just like that, that's another episode of TruVision Podcast, man. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Yes, sir.
Boy, how you make
I stand on business, I'm a businessman. Heard it talking money over there. What's the business then? Flying with the team, then we execute the business plan. All work, no play, I get that business in. I stand on business, I'm a businessman. Heard it talking money over there. What's the business then? Flying with the team, then we execute the business plan. All work, no play, I get that business in. I've been running through these blue strips and blueprints.